You and I are made to believe in wrong things for the sake of what is called Wall Street greed. Pranayama. So beautifully. And pranayama is so good that you can bring them back to what's called tranquility. Thanks to our Prime Minister, yoga has now been recognized all over the world. A movement which he moved in the UNO, record 172 countries okayed it to have all the associates. You love your boss, you love your assistant, you love your wife, you love your husband. You have no problem at all in life. Our problem is we don't love people. We hate people, H-A-T-E. And that's the most dangerous thing to happen. When you hate somebody, your problems start. That is why in Ayurveda, there are 5 levels of the mind. The mind is one word in English language, but in Sanskrit, there are 5 levels. Manas is the mind of a child. So beautiful. Have you seen a child, newborn child? Recently? No. If you're not, go to the maternity ward and see the newborn child. There are 2 kinds of children. One child comes out and very curious. Another child, the first one is coming here for the first time, so it's curious to know what's happening. The second one has come here several times. It couldn't care less what is happening. It has seen it all. But they smile at everyone the minute they start spotting people. Maybe a few months. Smile at anybody. bmhegde comes, it smiles. Jiten comes, it smiles. And whoever comes, it smiles. But do you do that? No, you don't do that. You smile at certain people and you don't want to see someone else's face. That is where the problem starts. I've been following this, what's called HRV. We were doing studies for about 40 years now. Heart rate variability. A child's heart is very interesting. When the child breathes, the heart runs fast. When the child breathes out, it runs slow. Which we, foolish Western physiologists, call it as sinus arrhythmia. That is the real rhythmia. Arrhythmia is health and rhythmia is death. Now, as you grow old and start hating people, then your heart becomes regular and regular and regular and regular. HRV decreases. And the day it totally stops and you're absolutely regular, you're dead. Don't laugh, I'm seriously telling you. I wish I had my slides to show you how this happens. These people who become absolutely regular are dead within about a couple of hours. But you can bring them from that state to the child state by doing pranayama. So beautifully. And pranayama is so good that you can bring them back to what's called tranquility. And that's where you can treat or use preventive measures. Yoga has that capacity to do that. That's why, thanks to our Prime Minister, yoga has now been recognized all over the world. A movement which he moved in the UNO, record 172 countries okayed it to have 21st of June as the International Yoga Day. 172 countries. And today you must see, I was in Lisbon last year. They invited me. There's a fascinating place in Lisbon. And there's a man who is Portuguese, but calls himself Swami Surya Prakash Ananda or somebody, and has the ochre robe. And he has got a big band of people doing yoga. And I was there for the 21st, and then we went up to the days, and one old lady comes. Oh, how old is she? 98. And she says, I've been doing yoga for the last 40 years. And she comes, it's a very high days, and some of us had to be helped. She just jumps up and comes. I always tell, you can say a man is healthy or not by knowing what he takes 2 at a time. Did you get that? Stairs and pills. If he takes 2 stairs at a time, he will live another 50 years. If he takes 2 pills at a time, I don't know how long he will live. This girl was taking 2 steps, jumping, 2 stairs. And then she comes and we stand there and we all say, Om. This girl says, Om. By the time we all finished, this girl was still saying, Om. 98. Can you believe that? such a long vital capacity. So much of vital capacity. Maximum breathing capacity. And her joints were so good because she was using them. That's why now for the Canadian Gerontology Association, I've told them, you teach your people two things. A, Indian dance forms, Bharatanatyam. If you're a Bharatanatyam exponent, your joints will be supple even when you're 100. And if you're one of those chanting the Om, your maximum breathing capacity will remain the same for any number of years you live. The two things that happen as age advances, A, joint mobility comes down, B, the vital capacity comes down. And you must see these people. And that's how the sinus arrhythmia of a child comes back to the adult also when once you become a child. When do you become a child? When you have no hang-ups. Child has no hang-up. I shouldn't talk to these people. No, I should, this is a meeting, I should like this and I should. By all those restrictions. You want to yawn? Yawn to your heart's content. Child yawns, no? You must see the sophisticated westernized lady. Why that? You want to, burp? Burp. It's normal. You want to fart? Fart loudly. What is there? Haven't you seen Auden's poem on farting? He says, you must know how to fart. Very nice. Auden, very big English poem. He says, his poem is there. No man can smell his fart. You can smell everyone else's fart, not yours. Some realize a child doesn't restrict it. Supposing it wants to fart, just a child doesn't say, I'll hold it on. Each time you hold it on, your blood pressure goes up. You're holding it on, breathing against closed glottis, which is Valsalva maneuver. You're almost killing yourself. Remember that. Fart, man. What is there? No, I'm just not joking. Seriously telling you. Become a child. Become a child in every aspect of it. That means your heart rate variability will come back to child sinus arrhythmia. And when once that happens, that's why that is a manas. Now the child is sent to school. Right? There, child is given some information. Time I am on. Restrict time time limit restricts, Yesterday I was worried because, there's the time is there, so much of programs to go on and the children were waiting for dancing, etc. So I didn't want to. Restrict. The blood pressure went up. Innella free for all. So what happens? You just send the child to school. School is said, this is bmhegde, this is so and so, that is so and so, this is so and so, etc. etc. And that level of the mind is called buddhi. You know what buddhi is? What you are told. You're told. You're told you should not fart in public. That's buddhi. But child doesn't have buddhi, it's a manas. It farts. So buddhi. That's why I say every newborn child is a genius, wrote Alexis Carrel, only to be converted to an idiot in school. So you become an idiot. So when the minute you become an idiot, then you become buddhi. Then after buddhi is the next level, where buddhi creates chitta. Chitta is buddhi plus ego. I am bmhegde. I am A, B, C, D, E, F, G or some whatever it is. That is called chitta. And that's the level you get lot of problems in the mind. Chitta, vritti, undulations. Nirodha yogaha, Patanjali wrote. At the chitta level, you have so much of agitation in the mind. If you can control it, put a nirod there, not the government one, it leaks. But the real one. you become a sannyasi, you become so tranquil. So that's exactly what is called yoga. Chitta, vritti, nirodha, yoga. Yoga is not kusti. All that kusti you do, asanas, they are not yoga. Real yoga is chitta, vritti, nirodha, yoga. And yoga is not joining the Atman with Paramatman, etc., etc. Actually, Patanjali was an atheist. He never believed in God. But chitta is chitta, vritti, nirodha, yoga. So no religion can have any objection for yoga because it's not anything to do with religion. It's just the mind. That's all. And that's very interesting to know that. And last is, what is asana for? Asana is also important. Because each time you stretch your muscles, the tendons release opioids. You relax. That's why called Stiram Sukham Asanam. For constant ease, you must do asana. So you do asana first and then sit and do pranayama. You become Chittavritti Nirodha Yoga. So you become a child at the end of the day and you love the whole world. And you love your enemy. That's what Jesus said. Love the enemy. You even love your enemy because you forget why you, in the first place, you become and forgiveness comes. And forgiveness is the biggest thing. Ayurveda says, Kshamavan, forgive. Aptopasevi bhaveta arogyam. Now, I was so happy this morning here because they said Kannada, the Indian associations have come together. Coming together is progress. Staying together is probably what you need. And we must stay together because you are now in a far-off country. Not, of course, physically not very far off from India. But you are in a foreign country. This is your karma bhumi. Love the Kuwaitians. You have to love the Kuwaitians because it is they who have given you a place to work here and thrive. So you love them. Your health improves. Then you love yourselves. You know, now the latest Western studies have shown that the old Indian large family systems are very healthy. The sense of belonging. You know, I still remember the days when I was a child in my father's house. We were 66 children in the house. 66 children. And it's fun. Supposing morning there is idli, let us say, for breakfast. Most of the time it is ganji. But if it is idli, one idli is cut into 4 pieces. So you are given 3 pieces. That means 3 idlis you are given. That is 3/4 of the idli you have at the end of the day. And chutney is like that. You just touch it and check. And it goes that far. But it was fun. We used to pick one from another plate and say run and eat and things like that. At night we had to drink milk. I still remember that. It's called pear neer. Pear neer means water in milk. At the end of the day, it was only water. There's no milk in it. So it gets diluted, and you get small quantities. So that is how life was, but with a very real fun. Today, father, mother, husband, and child. Father goes out for work, tension, whether he will come back or not. Mother goes out, tension. Child goes out, you don't know, will somebody kidnap the child. So all 3 of you, the blood pressure keeps going up. So the tension. So they say, the sense of belonging. You know, uncles, aunties, grannies, and so many people to look after. Today you have to have a nanny. And the nanny is not interested in the child, but the granny is interested in the grandchild. So nanny will look after the child much better than the nanny. And that's the enjoyment of it. So sense of belonging. So do you know what the West does now? They always do something. They call church groups. Not that they go to church. Nobody goes to church in the West now. They call church groups a group where they behave like a family. So my suggestion is, KKK is a bad name. Huh? Ku Klux Klan. KKK, IADK. Huh? IDAK, IDF. Treat yourselves as one family. Don't have that. Come together. Enjoy together. At least once in 3 months, have a combined meeting where you discuss topics of common interest. Or so you call some ass like bmhegde and ask him to talk some nonsense. All that is good because, you just want to while away your time, forget your past, forget your worries. Worries and things like that keep killing you. So you forget it, you treat yourself. So my suggestion would be, you be a good one organization and love your karma bhumi and do something for your janma bhumi also. Do something. At least remove the myths about India that the West and the other countries have. It's all not true. You would be surprised. India had the hoariest science in the past. But great. Now talking about it is no good. But we shouldn't talk. Let's see what the Western thinkers say. Voltaire said, I quote, Voltaire is a great French thinker. He said, when we were hunter-gatherers roaming the forest, these Indians had universities of excellence in 5 places, where wise people from all over the world flocked to get more wisdom. What a beautiful saying. Ilyabas, Bandhaban, Takshila, Banaras, and Nalanda. What a beautiful thing. You go to Gaya and see the Nalanda. Still the structure is there. And the structure is so beautiful. They want to revive that. And you must see the gown, the Nalanda University convocation gown, which is so good compared to the Ku Klux Klan gown that we use from the ecumenical 12th century European universities that we have. It looks like a burqa actually. All this we have forgotten. Now, in quantum physics, a man gets the Nobel Prize and an alternate Nobel Prize for finding out that energy and matter are identical. Matter is energy and energy is matter. He calls it as E is equal to M. And he calls it as a duality, a duality, a duality. That means no duality. But the man writes an article for you. Read this. Matter is not made out of matter. Article the pair in there. Matter is not made out of matter. His name is Hans, H-A-N-S, Peter, P-E-T-E-R, Dürr, D-U-R-R. Hans Peter Dürr. There he says, I call it as a duality because there is no duality between matter and energy. But who am I compared to the Indian sages who thousands of years ago called it as Advaita? Who says that? Hans Peter Dürr. You and I don't know. And he quotes the Upanishads to prove that matter is energy, energy is matter, and the two are the same. Bahirantascha bhutanam. It is inside and outside of everything. Charam acharamevacha. It moves all the time but looks very solid. You all look solid. There's nothing solid about you. You are just a bundle of jumping leptoquarks, jumping electrons. Sukshmavate tavijnayam. It's so subtle that no vijnana, no science can see it. Absolutely true. You can't see an electron even today. Nobody has seen an electron, but people have got Nobel Prize for describing an electron without seeing it. And if you say there is God, they say, have you seen God? I haven't seen God. But have you seen an electron? No. Why did you get an Nobel Prize for saying electron is particle? Or electron is wave? Or electron is wavicle? Or electron is nothing? Each one of them got the Nobel Prize. J.J. Thomson in 1906 got the Nobel Prize for saying that electrons are particles. He was the director of the Cavendish Institute in Cambridge. 30 years later, his own son, J.G. Thomson, gets the Nobel Prize for saying that they are waves. Father said they are particles, son said it's waves. And Erwin Schrödinger gets it for, he said they are waves and particles at different times, wavicles. See? And all this is because we believed blindly Western science is correct and ours is wrong. This is the problem. We have a real problem, a mindset. We don't understand these things. And if you read that book, The Golem, written by two physics professors, Colin Harris and Trevor Pinch, P-I-N-C-H. Trevor Pinch. This is a very small book. You get an Indian edition on Amazon.com for 75 rupees or a Western edition for about $5. And read the book. It will tell you what is a huge thing, fraud called science. And these are not villagers like bmhegde. They are professors of physics in New York. They have written that. And you must see, none of these scientific methods have any proof. E is equal to mc squared. Theory of relativity. 16 experiments showed that is wrong. But it's being taught even today in schools and colleges. Right? But 1925, there was a student in Zurich Polytechnic who was being taught by Einstein himself. And the student got up and said, and the old man was explaining, he got up and said, sir, you're talking through your hat. It's all bullshit, he told. What will happen to a student who tells a Nobel laureate professor that he's talking bullshit? What will happen to the student? He becomes an outstanding student, standing outside. For how many years? 30 years. And then gets the Nobel Prize. And the only Nobel Prize which is worth its gold is a Nobel Prize this student gets. And his name is Werner Heisenberg, who said uncertainty principle. There is no certainty about anything. PQ is not equivalent to QP. 2 into 3 may be 6, but 3 into 2 need not be 6. We don't teach this in school. 2 into 2 is 4 always, right? Thermodynamics. Fluid can't grow up, can it? No. You keep liquid helium in a bowl, hang it up. After 2 days, the helium goes up and comes down. Where is thermodynamics? See, we don't believe this, do we? No. They said ether was there. Ether, that's where telephone used to go through ether. Now we know there is no ether. And you are still taught in school that inside an atom is the central nucleus, and then electrons go round in circles, they jump from one thing to the other, right? There's nothing inside any atom. There's nothing inside an atom. 1920, Annie Besant, Charles Leadbeater, her boyfriend, and Babington, their colleague, come from Cambridge to get more wisdom in India and go to Himalayas and meditate and become yogis. And she writes a book. Annie Besant has written a book. Next time you are in Chennai, buy this book. And the book is called Occult Chemistry. Small book. Occult Chemistry. Annie Besant. Annie Besant, you know, who started the Congress party with all the problems for us now. Anyway, now coming back to Annie Besant herself. She wrote this beautiful book where she says, when I become a yogic siddhi and when I get into that elevated state of consciousness, I can visualize the inside of atoms. 9 atoms from helium to hydrogen. And I know there is nothing inside an atom. When did she write? 1920. Now quantum physics says there is nothing inside an atom. Can you believe that? And this is what the books write and you read and you believe. And that's exactly what is called the Western medicine. My friend was telling yesterday, we have a wonderful drug now. What is that? Receptor blockers. And the minute you find a receptor blocker, you get a Nobel Prize. You find something very great, no Nobel Prize. Receptor blockers research is funded by the drug company. So they plant a man called Venkatraman in Cambridge University. He finds a receptor blocker, he gets the Nobel Prize. But at the same time, the first receptor blocker researcher, Candace Pert, who was working in NIH under Saul Snyder, found out that the opioid receptors are outside the brain also. For the first time she found out. But the boss stole the data and wrote a paper and tried to get a Nobel Prize. So this girl found out in time, went to the Nobel Committee showing her ledger and said, it's my work, he has quoted. So the boss and the assistant both didn't get the Nobel Prize. The result was, this girl loses her job in NIH. Her name is Candace Pert. What's her name? Candace Pert. NIH is the highest court or the highest palace for research in America. National Institute of Health. And Candace was thrown out. But she wrote a book. She wrote a beautiful book. Please read this book. Molecules of Emotion. What's the book? Molecules of Emotion. Candace Pert. P-E-R-T. C-A-N-D-A-C-E. And Candace writes in this book so beautifully. Time has come for us now not to reach to a tablet counter when you have a headache, but to sit in a quiet place in your own house, meditate for a little while and elevate your consciousness and tell yourself their headache will go and the headache will go. This is called quantum healing. There's a beautiful book written by one Indian professor of physics in America. It's called Quantum Doctor. Please read that book. Quantum Doctor is a great professor. Probably Soporkar may know him. His name is, what's his name? Goswami. Amit Goswami. Amit Goswami is professor of quantum physics in the University of Eugene in, what is that place called? Oregon. And Amit is a very nice man. Amit has written a beautiful book. And Amit was nominated for Nobel 3 times but didn't get the Nobel Prize. Amit was the one who started that CERN reactor thing in France. Billions of dollars are spent there. Now Amit says it's a foolish thing because there are no particles at all. Why continue that? But people want to continue that because there is a big research grant. It's a joke. Western research is a joke. I wrote a letter to Abdul Kalam. Why send a man to moon? 100,000 crores of Indian money. We have 45 million Indian children who do not have more than not even one meal. They are suffering from a disease called NIDS. Have you heard of NIDS? You all heard of AIDS, right? Did you know AIDS and the HIV virus has nothing in it common? No? No. Other dentists, you think AIDS now? Very interesting. This is created for making money, to sell Zadovidine. Read this book as a dentist. Inventing the AIDS virus. inventing the AIDS virus. Written by Peter Duesberg, Peter Duesberg, Duesberg. He's professor of virology in the Berkeley University. And this book has a foreword by a Nobel laureate who was the father of PCR test. What's his name? PCR test. What was the name? Carey Mullis. And Carey writes, Peter and I don't know what causes AIDS, but there's no cause for AIDS. But Peter and I know one thing for certain, which nobody can dispute because he is the best virologist in the world, having got the Genius of the Century award. And I am the father of the PCR test, which identifies viruses. Nobody can dispute. And Peter and I do not think HIV virus has anything to do with AIDS. Full stop. Unquote. But you and I believe. See, this is what we are. You and I are made to believe in wrong things for the sake of what is called Wall Street greed.